We're back. Looking at that troll. Now, I fully admit, I mean, I'm definitely going to leave the first loss to the troll in, because honestly, it's kind of funny that I mouthed off to him and then proceeded to immediately die. But, but the thing is, there are multiple losses after that I think I'm just going to cut, or I'm only going to show small bits of, where Sir Lora died. And the reason he kept dying is because, you know, my build is basically stand in fire. Well, when Sir Lora gets too far away from me, he teleports back to me, right? And he teleports right under my feet. And when I'm standing in fire, what happens is he teleports into fire, and then he would try to run away. And this doesn't always happen if you're in, especially if you're in a small arena where he can't run too far away. But when you're in a big open area like this, or sometimes in a really tiny space where he can't get away. And if it's a really tiny space or a really big space, well, if it's a really big space, he'll run away and keep running. And then the game will go, oh, he's too far away. And he'll put it back, and it'll put it back under your feet. And he just gets stuck in this loop of trying to run away from me because he was on fire, getting teleported back into the fire in real time while we're trying to do a long turn-based fight. And he kept dying. This happened like at least 2 or 3 times, right, Bill?
Yep.
And like a couple of those times we were actually pretty close to winning. Like, we know how to do the fight at this point. Is that Sir Lora kept dying. So what I've done is I've put in the best Sir Lora mod is what it's called. And it will now be included in the list of mods that I link in the description. And what it should do is it should just make Sir Lora completely invincible. He won't take any damage from anything. He'll still act like he's taking damage. I think if I hit him, he'd still say, "Get away from this lunatic," but he won't actually take damage. And he won't trigger traps anymore. And I think there's a couple of other minor things the mod does, but those are the 2 big points. He will no longer blow me up with traps. I may still blow myself up with traps, but he won't. And he shouldn't take damage anymore in real time while we're trying to do turn-based combat. Because I'm sorry, when I can reproduce that situation that reliably, I'm going to say it's a bug.
And I don't believe any of these fights were designed to essentially have a real-time timer on them.
No. And there are going to be fights later with this. So really the only other option I could think of was to completely change my build to be like a much more cautious ranged build. And that to me just doesn't seem like the Red Prince. Like the Red Prince should be just hurling himself in there and lighting everything on fire. I guess that's just my interpretation of the character. And so my options were completely change my build to something where Sir Lora wouldn't be dying because I'd be trying to avoid surfaces. And keep in mind, if the enemies inflict a surface on me or things just get out of control, because I mean, you guys have seen the combat. Sometimes things blow up and we don't know how or why. But, you know, it's just... And I can't change him to follow Ethan either, for anyone wondering about that. Like, yeah, Ethan's build is a little bit safer than mine. You can't change who Sir Lora follows. He's stuck to me now. So, anyway, we've put it in. You could argue it's a bit cheaty. I would argue it's just fixing bugs at this point. Because, yeah, escorting the black cat, that's a quest. Sure. It'd be kind of cheaty to make the black cat invincible just to get it through the quest, though. Sometimes I consider it just because I like the kitty, but, you know, it's a bit cheaty. But Sir Lora, it's like, his weird rubber banding behavior, to me, it's a bug. Moving on, let's try to not instantly die this time.
Back off!
Get death resist ready.
This is my fish, and I don't suffer fools on it.
The enormous, unusually red troll looms over you with his fists clenched threateningly. His expression is stern, yet you can see the tiniest twinkle in his intelligent eyes.
Didn't hear me the first time, Harriet?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to learn. I'm not taking an insult from a walking rock.
Is that right, Turtle Dove? Maybe you prefer taking beef.
Here we go.
So yeah, Bill's job there was to put a death resist on me. So he has magic attacks too, which is what he's decided to hit us with there. And those hurt pretty dang bad, as you can see. However, I am gonna resist death for at least one more turn, so I don't need to worry. I'm gonna focus on maybe, you know, fixing Ethan a little bit. Armor's not gonna help. At least not physical armor. I mean, that troll did what? Like about 1,300 damage with its melee attack? There's no way either of us is surviving that, even if we use our armor skills. Magic armor, however, to just deal with his poison attacks.
You may regret placing that poison, though, once we blow it up.
Things are going to go boom. Because, again, I have death resist right now. And, in fact, I think what I should have done is I actually should have delayed my turn. Because I should have had you put Death Wish on me, which is going to give me a damage boost depending on how much vitality I'm missing. But let's see. Is there anything else that I can just set up right now? Oh yeah, my wings. So I'm just going to hold these 2 action points so that I can do more once Death Wish is on me. And I would appreciate some magic armor just because, you know, again, just to deal with the magic attacks and get rid of the damage over time, because the death resist isn't going to last very long. Encourage is good. Maybe clear-minded as well, just to get my stats up. This is the buff part of the fight.
On you?
Yep. Thank you. Might want to get your wings up too, because we're gonna need them. Alright. Now that I have what should be a pretty significant damage buff. Now, death resist is gonna drop for me after this one. I actually probably should have had you hold, if I delay my turn, does death resist time down? I honestly don't know. Ooh. No time like the present to find out. It keeps. It stays up. Okay. So actually, if I need to preserve death resist for that one extra round, delaying my turn, okay, I'm gonna try to keep that in my back pocket. I wasn't sure. We need to hit him with fire. This is a fire weak one. Don't worry about hitting me. I'm still death resisting at the moment.
What?
And earth also worked pretty well. Poison he heals from. And he's immune to petrified.
Okay, so no petrification.
Well, I think hit him with impale. And try to extend the fire behind him a little bit, as you do. Like that. Because we need that narrow part of the bridge.
Keep in mind that he's an ally for now.
So don't use Will of the Phoenix on him. Yeah, giving him fire immunity would be bad. We are going to try to remove that particular curse from Ethan. We're going to keep it on hand because it does increase persuasion, which I might need for, like, conversation reasons, potentially. But we're going to try to give him something else to actually use because, yeah, the charm effect is cool, and in this case, it prevented the troll from doing anything, but it's also played some havoc with some abilities of ours that, you know, affect enemies and allies differently. Like, for example, and don't worry, I'm not going to cast it on him. If you look at Will of the Phoenix, if you hit an enemy with it, they take a fair bit of fire damage, scorch, and they're smoldered, which reduces their damage output and fire resistance, which would be great to put on the troll, right? But the troll's an ally right now, so the other effect happens. He gets healed, and he gets fire immunity for a turn. Yeah, that was really bad. That was the only other one where we lost instead of Sir Lora dying. Was when I did that because I didn't realize, oh, charm makes him an ally. It also screws up Radiate. It would, if he had allies and I was using Radiate to make him damage his own allies, well, he's charmed right now. If I put him on him, we're his allies. It hits us. It's just causing a lot of weird interactions and problems. Admittedly, both those skills are modded. Maybe if all of our skills were vanilla, it would be fine, but they're not. So we're just going to get rid of that chest piece, at least as far as combat goes, ASAP. So next time I do an equipment sort. But we found out that if you put totems there, he can't get by them. We can still get by them because we're smaller, or of course we can fly over them. But he can't, and it means that he has to waste time dealing with the totems, or usually he just runs off like he's trying to go around them somehow. But by flying back and forth over the totems, it has helped us not take that massive melee attack from him too often. Anyway. Back to hopefully damaging this thing.
What? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were out of range of that. And the totems aren't firing at him because he's an ally right now. That's a vanilla skill that breaks. So there. I don't know why I got another turn, but I guess I'm not going to question it. Oh yeah, I delayed, so if. Then oiled will make him take more damage. I was hoping to be able to use Will of the Phoenix on him by this point, but not to be. And I'm not going to bother summoning my totems because they would go right after me. They'd go at the end of the order after the first turn, but they'd go right after me this turn. And we need this dang troll to have a turn so that the charm goes away. I don't want to hit you with this, and I also don't want to hit the totems with this, and it keeps trying to snap to the troll. Okay, hitting the Voidwoken with it should work. And I'm going to put Exquisite Firecraft on myself in case he would get too close.
Glory is mine.
There, now he's an enemy again. Don't try to run away or he'll hit you with an opportunity attack. You can fly away after you use maybe Roaring Strike or something if you wish.
Yes. Scorched.
Yeah, I'd put him a little further away. Let me do a top down so I can see like how wide the bridge is. They need to be at the narrower part of the bridge to actually block him. Like there. That. Now if he uses contamination, it'll still muck up all the totems, but. And now maybe fly to the other side of the totems before you get smushed. An enemy again, but he's an enemy that's out of range, so. Yeah, that's the only problem with this strategy is he tends to be too far away for a lot of our stuff to work. Yep, enemy. If you come up next to me, you should be able to hit him with most of your stuff.
A lot of my stuff is on cooldown.
You still have your air abilities and piercing. You want to go to the other side of me.
There.
But okay, if you do top down. Like, you want to be, like, right on my left side. The red prince's left. Like, right there. Yep, that puts you within range.
He's not immune to shocked, which locked him in place. So
well,
the totems.
stunned locks in place, but something also stunned him. Oh, that was a cool interaction. Apparently, one of the attacks caused him to bleed a little bit, which then turned it into electrified blood, which then stunned him. That was a very, very fluky stun, but I'll take it. Which is good, because if he's going to be stunned out, that means I should be able to fly over there and breathe fire on him, which would be good. Oh, well, apparently my wings timed down. Was not expecting them to time down that soon. Which is a problem, because we need to get fire to him, and most of my remaining fire abilities are, melee range. Oh dear. Because if we don't keep fire on him, he'll regen. He's still fortified? He is not. But apparently that's still an invalid target. Maybe trolls are just immune to being teleported regardless. Maybe they're just too dang big. Oh, I can do more fire totems. Now, I don't think these two would do anything really to block him, but I do kind of want to keep these spread out. I'm going to do magic armor on myself again, because he's eventually going to have poison attacks off of cooldown. And it's going to be 2 turns before I can get my dang wings back. Okay, I'm not sure why the totems didn't hit him that time. Let's see. You have 2 jumping abilities, actually, assuming your wings are still up, or did yours also time down? Yours also time down. That's a problem. But you also have lightning warp. So you actually do still have 2 jumping abilities. You have a lot of jumping abilities. Do you have a fire ability? Roaring Strike would work. Or you could use your rock to spread fire to him. That honestly might be the best course of action here. Point is, we need to get him on fire. But yeah, you can actually see Sir Lora still repeating that behavior where he's spawning under me and then just running. Because I saw him just run off into the woods again. See what he's doing? He's just constantly running across the bridge. Point is, he's not taking damage doing it anymore. But you can see him still doing this behavior.
I have enough action points.
I would use your next... Well, no, you'll go first next round because I put Peace of Mind on you, so you'll get another turn before anything happens. So you could just hold those 2 points. Alright. Just remember, you need a point at the end of all this to jump away, or you're going to have a very bad time.
Just hop away now.
Before we forget.
All of my stuff is ranged now, so...
You'll probably want to be, like, roughly next to me. I'd say a little more to the... See, there's that tiny bit where you can kind of hop right on top of the Vicious Voidling corpse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasted. Fireball on him.
Yeah, Impalement wouldn't need a path, which might be better for you here. And you can summon more totems, of course. There-ish.
And keep the fireball in the back pocket in case we need to just light him up.
Yeah. Fortify is not going to help you much, buddy. That helped you a bit, but I'd rather I'm aiming at the totems than us. There, now some of my stuff's off cooldown.
What? What?
Well, you have a fireball, so...
What? What?
And those are just timing down. They don't last forever. Well, you have your piercing bolt.
Just a plain old fireball.
Yep. And let's see, what else? Yeah, most of the other attacks on that bard ain't gonna do very much. But you could encourage and such just to get stats up, and helps the totems as well. And unless you've got something else, you could always just hold the 2 points. Yeah, he keeps trying to get out of the fire, and then he's just not sure what to do after that. Alright, I can get my wings back now. I can fly over there if I absolutely have to, but if I can hit him from over here, I'm gonna.
He's slowed down, and he's got not much health left.
He has 4 health. I literally could just wait and let the totems do it, which is what I'm going to do. 1 set should stay up. And there's almost 40,000 XP for us. But yeah, you'll still hear Quark is like complaining that we've gone mad when he would take damage. So we haven't even gotten rid of his complaining. You can still hear that as normal. But he just, like, there are just certain areas where he'll just decide for one reason or another. I'm not sure if it's a distance thing or a pathing problem, but especially on, like, weird bridges and bottlenecks, like, even as it was where he wasn't technically taking damage, you guys, like, if you watched during the fight, he kept just running across the bridge that was on fire. And if he wasn't invulnerable, he would have been dead a few times over in the time it took us to finish that fight, because the troll is very tanky. And that needs level 5 lore master to identify. I think I currently have like a base of 1, and I have a necklace that gives me 1 more that I'm keeping on hand. And if I use this Mask of the Shapeshifter to turn into an elf, I can get another. So my current maximum lore master is 3. So I guess remind me that I'm taking lore master the next time we get civil points. Apparently there was an old chapel around here at some stage. I think that's the shipwreck of the Peacemaker. So we need to eventually go investigate that. Anyway, let's save, because I don't know about you, but I don't want to do that again.
No. Do not want...
I mean, it's a doable fight once you actually, you know, plan for it instead of just mouthing off to a troll.
I wonder what I've stumbled upon.
Okay, so the revealed thing is a blood trail. We're noticing a blood trail. That's what that is. I really wish that the characters had said blood trail somewhere in that line, because if I hadn't noticed that the blood was shiny, I would have probably spent quite some time looking around for like a grass or dirt pile, because that's usually what, or you know, a switch. It's not usually a blood trail that your character notices for this. Well, there's the supplies. I guess some Voidwoken were rather attached to it.
So we got 2 Voidwoken bears and a Voidwoken Ranger guy. And their magic armor almost disappeared from that.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't expect bears, even void-tainted ones, to have much in the way of magic armor, would you? Yeah, if you weren't right next to me, I would do Supernova, but you'd be in range of that, which wouldn't be pleasant for you. And yeah, I'm just going to assume that physical damage is about to be a problem, so... You charmed a bear. Yeah, sometimes it's funny like that, but it's just a little too unpredictable for my taste.
Making sure
You could drop the beast guy in on top of his pets first. Because we each have a teleport.
Now to make sure I hit them with something that won't hit you.
Just so you're aware, that skill does do friendly fire, but it just doesn't matter at the moment.
Yeah, I just kind of assume that most things do friendly fire.
Most things, other than like a handful of skills like Turbulent Wind that I know that don't. Another thing that's weird is I'm actually thinking about delaying my turn because I'm not certain if we'll get experience if Pasha's an ally, technically.
Okay.
Or another thing I could do is I could put Clear-Minded on the bear, which would clear the charm, and then take it out.
Okay.
Let's try that. There we go. You're not charmed anymore. Now I can actually take you out and be sure that the experience is working properly. Do you guys see why I want to get rid of this? Because I've noticed a couple of times when we take out charmed enemies, I don't see the experience. Maybe the experience is still being added and it's just a display issue, but I'm not sure. And now that we're getting to enemies that actually give a decent amount of experience, I'd rather not risk it. I don't know if that's technically going to be counted as being in the fire, so I'm just going to put them both there. Too much of a height difference, I think. I think he's up a little too high. Poison would only heal him. I'm pretty sure he's undead. So I can just launch a fireball in his direction. There we go. Let's get off the cursed ice.
Someone's been digging rather hastily. Something isn't right here.
Well, that would be his mentor. But I could also just talk to his mentor spirit that's apparently hanging out here. I think that's him.
Rat, cack sniffing whelp, where you hiding?
Daddy's boy, where you hiding?
The spirit notices his eviscerated corpse, caked in dirt and laced with maggots, and lets out a spine-curling howl.
Are you Garvin's mentor?
Voidwoken?
Oh, so you weren't killed by Voidwoken.
Voidwoken did not eat of my flesh. Voidwoken did not betray me, it were him. My boy, my Garvin. I want his head in my hands. I want his head in the dirt, sticky with worms, picked to the bones by buzzards. Bring it to me, bring it to me, head of the dog, Garvin, Garvin!
Did something come between you guys that would have explained why he betrayed you?
Spoiled that green milk like a stinking egg. His hands were bigger than his head. He wanted and wanted but didn't know enough. Never enough. He'll got the business, same as he did me. Rat, pig, dog.
Well, I mean, I have no idea how we'll go about doing this without just fighting everyone in that tavern, but frankly, even if it comes to that, I didn't like most of the people in that tavern, so okay.
Find him. Feel his heart. Squeeze it dry. Squeeze it dead. Bring the head. Bring the head.
We'll tackle how we're going to go about that when we actually go back to town. I don't think we're going to do that just yet because there's a lot of other things in this area we need to check out. But
and we need to make sure we don't lose the head.
Yeah, that's the other part. When we get that, we're just immediately going to come and bring it back to this guy because otherwise we're not going to have it and it's going to be a problem.